song always makes me sad. I think that's a sad, touching song. Yeah, strikes fear in some of you, right? The beginning of At the Movies with Philm. Yeah. Got a fun film for you tonight. This is Sergei Eisenstein, the great Soviet montage himself, the montage master, probably the best exponent and practitioner of the montage form of film to come out of the Soviet Union, and certainly that is a style that's going to resonate throughout all the rest of filmdom. That idea that no shot by itself is significant until it is, or how it is connected to the shot that it's adjacent to. And the idea that cinema should not be necessarily there to just to entertain, but there to edify, to teach, and to breed conflict. Montage is that, well, in Eisenstein's hands, the notion of the kino fist, collision. We're showing his very first film, Strike, 1925. Remember, Potemkin is going to come directly after this. This is his first big feature-length foray into practicing some of those principles that he had developed along with Kuleshov and Pudovkin and other of the folks out of the Moscow Film School, more properly out of the Kuleshov workshop. And those notions of collision and how you connect shots very much are going to become part and parcel of what Strike is all about. Strike, well, in a way, I was looking over some stuff over Strike, and I didn't see anybody really make this connection. But it's one that naturally comes to me, and I'll give you a little background before I go into the connection itself. The Soviets, particularly in the period when the Civil War is raging and so on, just after the Bolshevik Revolution in 17, had experienced a time where they really didn't have a lot of film stock, raw stock to shoot movies. So you have this school that's established by Lenin and the folks, right? Because remember, for us, film is the art, Lenin said. That you have this film school and you have this workshop, and you don't have any raw stock to give to your film students to work with. So what do you do instead? Well, one of the things they did, they had a lot of other things, but the one thing that they did was they had pre-existing prints of other films. And you could give these, what they did was they actually gave prints to their students and had them experiment with editing and re-editing the things that they saw. And one of the major films that they have was a film by the name of Intolerance by D.W. Griffith. Now, we know that Eisenstein is quite influenced by Griffith. He even wrote an essay called, Griffith, Dickens, and Modern Movies or something. I don't remember what it is. It could be And Me, just as much. But he did write about his thinking of Griffith's works. And if you remember Intolerance, which is one of those lengthy films that we have shown on our series here, that there was one of the episodes that dealt with the domestic strife. The modern story had a major part about management and labor relationships, and there's a strike in there and how they negotiate and so on, and it's very, very, conflict-ridden. Well, this story, Strike, is also about a factory that the workers are having conflict with the management, and it's about the struggles, between them. And given Eisenstein's view, he's basically radicalizing a lot of what Griffith was doing. But I think that Griffith, in a way, in those early 1916 Intolerance stuff, had a pretty interesting view of that labor-management relationship anyway. But filtered through the Marxist-Leninist perspective, this is a much more radical vision of that relationship. Capitalists versus the proletariat and the struggles, and pitting them against each other. Now, that in itself, these two conflicting powers, of course, coming together and colliding in your sense of a dialectic, is going to create a new type of synthesis out of their collision. And of course, that's the notion of what montage is all about, is the idea of colliding opposites to find a synthesis or something new to emerge on the other end. And of course, when you throw capitalist and proletariat together, what do you get? You get the proletariat, the dictatorship of the proletariat. Matter of fact, this film was envisioned to be a part of a series of films called Toward the Dictatorship. And only one of them got made, Strike. Okay, so this does seem to kind of fit into that programmatic, and for them, propagandistic. Now, to them, propaganda was a good thing, okay, because that was the goal of cinema. They were really upfront about it. The idea that cinema is there to teach and to inculcate or to introduce us to different kinds of ideology. We in the West, we kind of sort of poo-poo that, thinking propaganda is a bad thing, right, that comes on the other side of the Iron Curtain. But you got to admit, even the 70s show and things like that are propaganda. They are teaching us about that which we desire as consumers and about our world ethic and how to inhabit the world that we live in. Okay, like it or not, everything has its propagandistic level. Strike is a remarkable, stunning visual film. There's some incredibly graphic scenes in this film too. Okay, now we're looking 1925. There are some animals involved in some of this that get hurt. There are some slaughter sequences and so on that Eisenstein is using for symbolic value. So be advised of that. But beyond that, okay, this is probably one of the greatest films ever made by probably in the top 10. Eisenstein would have to be in that top 10 of the filmmakers of all time. Is that enough build-up for it? Roll 'em, Smokey.